Terrence Crawford, David Avanesian. This is a fight that no one saw coming. No one saw coming. Not even Crawford fans. The boxing world in general. But if you guys watch my other videos, you will know that I saw it coming. I said the fight wasn't going to happen. When a fighter out his own mouth tell you in so many words they really don't want the fight. And, you know, y'all was calling me Errol Spence fanboys and all this and all that. Again, I'm a fan of the sport. I like all fighters because I'm a former fighter myself. And you gotta respect the motherfucker that get in that ring and risk their life no matter what it is. You know what I'm saying? You gotta respect the motherfucker who's willing to get in there and go toe to toe with anybody. But what I don't respect is the bullshit on how this played out. You know what I'm saying? I don't respect that. You gotta have some type of character. You know what I'm saying? And respect for the game. I mean, let's be honest. You froze a whole division knowing you didn't want the fight in the first place. But I told y'all this. Look at my other videos speaking on Spence and Crawford. I told y'all this. Because if you pay attention to what these fighters say out their mouth, they tell you themselves what's really going on. Now, what I'm going to do in this video, I'm going to rewind it to show you how we got here. So I'm going to go all the way back. Okay. Terrence Crawford went from junior lightweight to lightweight to welterweight. At that time, Errol Spence had just picked up the belt from Kell Brook. Then he was chasing Manny Pacquiao. He wanted that fight bad. I mean, real bad, because he chased Manny Pacquiao over several years. So he wanted that fight bad. The fight didn't get made because Bob didn't want to make the fight because him and Pacquiao are friends. And he said that he didn't want Pacquiao to get hurt or whatever the case may be, right? But me being a businessman as well, that was so far from the truth. Bob didn't want that fight to happen because he's making money off Pacquiao. He's making money off Crawford. If the two was to collide and fight, somebody's stocks drop. That means his pockets drop. So to keep both good fighters away from each other would be the wise thing to do business-wise, right? So you can keep getting that money in and making money off these fighters. But that still didn't stop Terrence Crawford from pursuing the fight year after year after year after year. Now, fast forward a little bit. Pacquiao fights Jeff Horn and loses to Jeff Horn. Now, remind you, Errol Spence got the IBF belt. Terrence Crawford just came from undisputed, from lightweight. So he just came from undisputed. So he had the option to fight Jeff Horn or Spence. Now, Bomac goes on record to say they chose Jeff Horn because it was the easier route. Duck number one, to let you know he didn't want that fight because he could have had it back then when Errol Spence was green. All right? Well, kind of green, but you know what I mean. That was the party in Spence then. That was the, undisciplined Spence then. So he does that, but Crawford beats Jeff Horn. Still chasing Pacquiao. And Pacquiao still don't have a belt. So then Errol goes on to beat Sean Porter. Gets the WBC belt. Car accident happens. Earl's on a layoff. You know what I'm saying? Earl's injured. He's on a layoff. And Terrence Crawford, what comes out his mouth, yeah, I would like that Spence fight, but I don't want to fight him right after the accident because if I win, I'm not going to get the credit I deserve. I would like to let him fight somebody else first and this and that and this. Read between the lines, people. Duck number 2. So shit went like it went. Then Crawford goes on to say, don't nobody from the PBC side want to fight me. You know what I'm saying? I don't need an Errol Spence fight to cement my legacy. I'm a Hall of Famer, blase splee, and all this. Then nobody from the PBC side want to fight me. So Sean Porter comes on the scene, was like, I don't want no other fight but Terrence Crawford. I done told my dad that's the only fight I'm focused on right now is Terrence Crawford. Because at first they wasn't going to fight because them two were friends. But, you know, money moved that needle and be like, we can put that shit aside to get this bag. You know? So that fight happens. Kenny Porter stopped the fight. Terrence Crawford didn't stop Sean. Kenny Porter stopped Sean. Y'all give him too much credit for that shit. But Kenny Porter stopped the fight. So, fast forward, Errol comes out of the layoff, fight Danny Garcia, beat the shit out of him worse than anybody ever beat Danny Garcia. Off a layoff. And then they still negotiating. Excuse me. They still negotiating for the fight. They still negotiating for the fight as far as Terrence Crawford is concerned. So, which leads me to believe, or leads the whole boxing world to believe that this fight is really going to happen. But now you got Earl's side. You got Spence's side. So this shit like Bad Boy and Death Row kind of speak. And we all know Crawford is prone to making bad decisions. So he wants to sue Bob Arum, become a free agent, because everybody's saying that Bob Arum is holding up the fight or don't want the fight. And Earl told y'all back then, if the fight don't happen, it's not on me. So, you fast forward today. So, Terrence Crawford, again, well, if the Earl Spence don't happen, I'll move up and fight Jermell Charlo. Duck number 3. This shit is funny because y'all saw this shit coming. Well, I saw it coming. I don't know about y'all, but I saw it coming. I saw it coming. My theory about everything is Errol did all the heavy lifting far as beating champion by champion by champion. Crawford beat one guy, was Jeff Horn. Who wouldn't want to fight one fight and do a Devin Haney and just get all the belts? Who wouldn't want to do that instead of going through the training camps of champion by champion by champion? Now, a wise man would think, okay, I ain't got to fight all these fights and put all this wear and tear on my body. If I can get one fight, become undisputed in 2 weight classes, most people with common sense was like, I'll go that route. And it was also issues about money. You wait till you 39 fights in, on your way out. Now you deciding you want to talk about the bag? Make that shit make sense. Now you concerned about your money. And you only got one fight to go to make history. It don't make sense. It don't make sense. Then you were negotiating with a fight with Errol Spence, but you're talking about moving up to fight Charlo? Don't make sense. And like I told y'all before, yeah, he want to move up to fight Charlo because Charlo would be an easier fight stylistically for him because Charlo is orthodox. Charlo is a plotter. Charlo is a thinker just like him. Anybody that give Crawford time to think, he can dissect you and beat you. Errol Spence is not going to give you that time to think. And your southpaw switch hitting shit, it won't work on a southpaw. It'll be a mirror match. And the pressure and the pressure and power that Spence applies won't give Crawford a chance to think. And the southpaw switching is not going to work on a southpaw. It'll just be a mirror match. So stylistically, he already knew it was a bad matchup for him anyway. Which leads me to believe why the Manny Pacquiao fight never panned out. Because he's a southpaw also. But it's your man's Crawford. And I just want to say to y'all Crawford fans, what excuse y'all got for him now? Because I lost respect for him. You froze a whole division to fight somebody you already knocked out beat. And that's duck number 4. Because as a man, if you wasn't going to fight, you should have came to the table, I don't want to fight. Save face. And like I say, you froze a whole division. So now Jerron Boots Ennis, Virgil Ortiz, whoever was going to be on that undercard, they like what the fuck going on too because they don't want to fight somebody, then Earl vacate, move up, and then, you know, then they like, damn, I could have had a title shot, but I just fought. I can't get ready for another fight this soon or turn around this soon. But this goes back to the decision-making of Terrence Crawford. Or his team, for that matter. Somebody could be in his ear telling them shit. And I hope it ain't Bomac. We see how his career went. But you got to surround everybody want to do the Mayweather blueprint and be businessmen and boxers at the same time. But Mayweather keep telling y'all the same shit. I got a good team around me. You have to have a good team in order to be successful. It's not just about what you did in the ring. You have to have a good team around you to make smart business decisions. You know, boxers want to ultimately take over as far as, you know, which is nothing wrong with it. Don't get me wrong. You want to control your career control your career and guide your career to maximize the best opportunities and potentials out there. But you also have to, you can't worry about business and focus on fighting too. That's why that team is so important. They focus on the business side. You focus on the training side and the film study for the fighter that you're about to fight next. But if I'm focusing on the paperwork and the business side and trying to fight and trying to train, something's going to lack. You can't watch this person, that person, this person, and go in the fight and expect to win. But all roads point to he didn't want the fight. Now you fighting somebody, a lesser opponent, not even nobody in the top 5. Which you could have been a man and just came out and say, I don't want the fight, which I already knew anyway. You gave too many excuses. But the fans was clamoring for that fight. Your fans was clamoring for the fight. And they believed in you, and you let them down. Now, the weird thing about shit when it happens like this, it's going to be kind of like a I think it might be a Canelo Bivol situation. Crawford still might win the fight, but he's gonna get exposed, I believe, against Avanesian. Cause the boy he ain't gonna lay down. He ain't no walking apart. But I believe he gonna get exposed because what happens in situations like this, they raise their game up. They know I ain't gotta win the fight for my stock to raise. All I gotta do is look good against you. In my next fight, I'll get sort of like Isaac Pitbull Cruz and Tank. He ain't win the fight, but he looked good enough to raise his stock to where he can get those other big names in big fights like he fought Gamboa and all that. Ain't nobody know who Pitbull Cruz really was till he fought Tank. And I believe that's the same thing going to happen in this David Avanesian fight. He's going to expose Crawford to a point to where Crawford, everybody going to automatically know then that he couldn't do shit with Errol. Y'all mark my words, bro. This ain't going to be no just pick 'em easy fight. But I just wanted to let y'all know some fact checks about the duck that I've been saw. Just look at my videos, y'all. Gotcha. This is Raw and Real. Keeping it real. With the spill. Peace.